Hello, and welcome to the Al Boost Podcast, TABP. I'm your vibrant hostess, Alison Zawajka. Hey guys, we are here. We are in the third episode. Welcome back to all my regulars, and welcome to my newbies. It's about to be lit in here. I mean, literally. The podcast title, episode title of this week is 21 and Drunk. So it's about to get lit. So yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to all of you guys who've been listening. Hey, and your feedback this week actually made me emotional, because I think that last week's story was a bit on the emotional side, and a lot of you guys could relate. So a lot of the feedback was very, wow, people really have been bullied. People really have been going through it. But I just want to remind you before we get into this episode that you truly are beautiful just the way you are. And those words that those people have said about you, nah, boom, they ain't relevant. They don't matter. They are lies. The truth is that you are truly beautiful just the way you are. I also want to thank the TABP team for putting this together. Thank you, Tanya, for the art, and thank you, Alison, for the voice. And thank you to the listeners, because you guys are actually what makes this thing happen, you know. It would be miserable if I put out an episode every week and there's like no one listening to my voice or no one like giving feedback. But you guys are actually thebomb.com #boosted_squad. Hey, you know, this is what happens all the time. This is how I come up with things. I just randomly say things and they kind of sound good. Someone tell me if Boosted Squad is copyrighted, because if it's not, I'm taking it. We're going to call ourselves the Boosted Squad, the Boosted Delegation. Us. That's who we are, the Boosted. Because you're boosted when you get out of this place, hopefully. But from the feedback, yeah, you're boosted. And that is like the main thing for me, right? I think I'm stalling in this episode. Do you think I'm stalling? I think I'm stalling, because this title that we have, this topic that I'm talking about today, makes me kind of nervous. Disclaimer, I'm not the most perfect person. I don't have my Christian life all figured out. And I'm just there with you guys, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure things out. So there shall be no judgment coming my way. I think that's why I'm a bit nervous, because it's not the best of memories that I have, but it's lit. And also I just feel compelled to talk about it. And I know for sure somebody's going to be boosted from this, because that's what he do. So 21 and drunk, let's get it. Okay, so I was literally 21 and drunk. That's not metaphorical, right? So a couple of years ago, well, not that long ago, I turned 21. And I went to Zimbabwe for the summer. And so in that same year, my father, my uncle, an aunt of mine, all three of them were turning 50. And then I had another uncle turning 40, and I was turning 21. So it was like a big thing in the family. Like, oh my gosh, all these people are turning important ages. And my mom, shout out mom, loves to throw a good party. So she was on it. And I was even allowed to invite a couple of friends of mine. So like, it wasn't entirely my 21st party. It was everybody else who had an important birthday that year party as well. All right. So we out here. My friends came over, and coincidentally, actually, I had more male friends than female friends who came to the party, because, you know, it's difficult to get a woman child out at those hours. But it wasn't late. I mean, it started at like 4 p.m. and it was going to end at like 10 p.m. for those who needed to go home. For the rest of us who lived there, it was going to end when it ended. Because the party was at my house and everything. And yeah, so my mom did her thing, did what she knows best, to organize a lit party, a lit family thing. The whole clan and a half was there. Do you know what I mean? That's how lit it was. And, my family is big on family. I think in general, I want to say Africans, but I don't know that fact, but we are big on family. So my mom did this thing where she had different barbecue points. I was about to say Braistens. Then I was like, no, I have an international audience, so I need to speak internationally. Come on, Allison. We can't be saying bri, barbecue. I can't be saying my robots. I have to say traffic lights. I can't say Colgate. I have to say toothpaste. Anyway, so yeah, my mom put different barbecue stations in different places in our yard. We were all in the same backyard part of our yard, but there was different points where different groups of people would barbecue. So I had my place with all my friends and all my cousins and people that age, because Africans go everywhere with everybody. Do you know what I mean? You invite someone to a wedding, they'll come with their sister and their sister's brother's wife and the child of the wife of the sister of the mother of their husband. Do you know what I mean? What are we doing? This is why strictly by invitation is a thing for my wedding. What are we doing? Why are you bringing your clan to my wedding? What's going on? The same thing happens for parties. You don't go for a party alone in Zimbabwe. You've been invited, but you too, because you have been invited, you have the power to invite the uninvited. Do you know? This is it. So everybody who was in my age group was barbecuing at the same place, vibes. Because my mom didn't want us to clash. Because obviously, if your parents are around, you don't really, I don't want to say you don't really enjoy, because I have pretty cool parents. We enjoy ourselves. But we didn't want to be limited per se. And that was my mom's idea. Hey, she just wanted everybody to have a good time. And then there was a second barbecue station for the dads, so that the dads are also doing dad stuff. Because, I think that dads have very boring stories sometimes. But we all have that one uncle. And I'm about to tell you about my one uncle. Love him, actually. Totally. So, yeah. And then the moms had their own station where they were doing their barbecue with their babies. But teenagers, my brother's age, he's 19 now. But then he was I don't remember. So, I love you. I love you, brother. Anyway, teenagers and the younger kids, but the ones that don't need supervision, really, also had their own barbecue station, but it was supervised by one of my older cousins kind of situations. So it was lit. The whole clan and a half was there, like I said, and stuff like this. So in the afternoon, we started off, your girl, your girl's makeup is good. Your girl's makeup is popping. Well, then it wasn't as popping as it is now, because shout out at Belesa by Shay for teaching a girl one or two things. If you're not following the best makeup artist in Debrecen, I don't know what you're doing. If you're not in Debrecen too, I don't know what you're doing, because your eyes need that stuff. Your eyes need to see that stuff. Your fingers need to tap on the like button and the comment and all of that. I promise this is not sponsored. Hint at Belesa. Anyway, so yeah, it was thebomb.com. I was wearing mustard yellow. I was shouting, you could see me from over there. That's the birthday girl. Well, one of them. But your girl's a little extra, so I had a sachet, lit makeup. I was wearing heels for the first part of it. And this thing is happening at my house. I literally left my room to get out to come and sit at the high table. Oh, we had a high table. I really don't know if other people do this, but I'm into weddings. So I've watched a lot of wedding shows and stuff like that. But in Zim, right, we have this cool high table situation that goes on. So basically, high table at a wedding is where the bride and the groom and the bridal team, that took a lot to come out. The bridal team sit right at, like, it's usually elevated a little bit above everybody, and that's where they sit during the reception. And it's lit. So we had one of those for our party where us, the birthday people, were sitting. We had a high table, my guy. And everybody had their own cake because we don't want to be fighting, I have an aunt who bakes, so shout out to her too. There's a lot of shouting out that's happening in this episode. Shout out to everybody before someone comes to kill me because they didn't get a shout out. So yeah, right? And my dad said a speech about how I'm the best daughter in the world. And I'm an only daughter. So, I'm a daddy's girl. Like a daddy's girl kind of situation. And he's saying all these beautiful things. He then gives me my 21st key. And everything is lit. And we're happy. And everything's lit, right? But here's the lit part. My uncle, that uncle, took us to go buy some alcohol in the afternoon. A friend of mine brought some alcohol. So we'd been drinking for a while, like since the afternoon, first of all. And your girl's tolerance then was mighty, mighty strong. But we've been drinking from the afternoon. And I don't know, I've had very personal feelings about this. I think alcohol in Zimbabwe makes you more drunk than alcohol in Europe. This is just my theory. Because how did that happen? Never KO'd before. And then, okay, let's not preempt the story. So then this is what happens. We've been drinking since the afternoon. Can you hear these enemies of progress who are starting to do their grass work outside here when I'm recording a podcast? Anyway, we will conquer. So we've been drinking since the afternoon. My cousin, we all also have that cousin. My cousin decides, let's take it up a notch. So she brought the Game of Thrones Johnny Walker, the blue and white thing, whiskey. Now let me tell you something. Whiskey really has never been my thing like that. Or let me put it this way, because whiskey wasn't my thing like that then. Like, not at all. And I just struggled with whiskey. It was not my thing. So tell me why they're cutting down trees during the recording of the Al Boost podcast. Actual enmity to the progression of the Al Boost podcast. Like what was that? What was going on? But they're gone now. They're gone, so we can continue. Okay, so my cousin, she brings out the big guns. And obviously we cannot be seen drinking. Oh, important fact that I forgot to mention. My parents do not drink. So they were not facilitating drinking at this party. So if you wanted to drink alcohol, you would bring your own bottle, basically. So I definitely was not the one who was going to be seen with that bottle of Johnny Walker. I promise you my mom might not even have known what it was, but like still, I ain't risking it because someone was gonna know. So we put that whiskey in a flask, so that, you can't see what's going on. And so we were sipping from it, neat. Now, this is a fact under the sun. Alison does not do neat whiskey. No, I'm not that cool. And it's okay. And it's a fact I've accepted. I'm not a part of those people with the little nice glasses in TV and little whiskeys on the side. No, it is not I. So, but here I am sipping it neat, and we were doing that because obviously we wanted to like be buzzing, but there was a lot of my cousins who were taking it as well. So we just decided we're going neat because everybody needs to be lit at some point in time. That rhymed. Anyway, so we out here with our little whiskey tin going on, sipping. The last thing I remember is me dancing in a circle with my friends. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in the morning with the same mustard colored jumpsuit. I was confused. Like, why am I waking up? Did I sleep? It was late. That's how late it was. I've never had an experience apart from that one where I don't remember what happened. Like, other times, or the very first time that kind of tried to happen, I remembered eventually. To this day, I cannot remember what happened that night. I have absolutely no recollection. And I'm waking up, and after a good African party, your relatives sleep over, or there's those ones, the close ones that sleep over. So that was the case. So a cousin of mine was sleeping next to me. I woke her up and I said, "Sis, what's going on? Why am I wearing my jumpsuit? Why? And she just started laughing. She was like, "Sis, you were late." And I was like, "I was what?" And she was like, "No, you were late." And I was like, that don't sound good. I look over to my left. I see a bucket with vomit in it. And I knew it was mine. And I looked at my clothes. I can see some vomit on it. My God, I was freaking out. I was having a full-blown panic attack at this point. Like, yo, sis, what happened? So I was like, no. Tell me exactly what happened. As I'm talking to this cousin, another cousin of mine wakes up. She sees that I'm awake and she starts laughing. She's like, "Sis, what? Actually, wow, you were late." And I was like, "What? You guys, oh my gosh, my actual guy. It was not the douche. Wow." The words just refused to come out. So I quickly got up, snuck around the house. And our house isn't that big that you can be sneaking around like a ninja like that, right? And I go to the guest house because that's where I heard my friend had slept over. Well, one of my friends anyway. But she was the closest, and she'd slept over. And then I went to her and I was like, "Sis, what happened?" She was like, "My girl." She was like, "My guy, you were late." And I was like, why does everybody keep looking at me and like laughing and smiling like, "No, you were late, sis. Did I give a show? Did I strip naked?" She was like, "No, actually, it wasn't that bad, to be honest. But the fact that you KO'd my guy, And then KO'd is knocked out, by the way, for they that don't know. So yeah. So she was like, "No, you were late." And then I was like, that don't sound nice. And then so one of my male friends then was my crush. And I was like, "Did I say anything to that young man?" She was like, "No, you didn't." I was relieved instantly. I was like, "Oh, I might have just confessed everything to that young man." Bless his soul. So yeah, everything was fine. Everything was good. Well, everything was not fine, but like I just cleared that out. So, and she started explaining to me, "Oh no, you were just like, we were dancing outside in a circle. Everything's lit. You weren't dancing straight, but we were like, let's keep it going because it wasn't looking too bad." And then next thing you said, "I need to vomit." And so we snuck you around the house, and then we got you inside and you were vomiting. Hi. And then we were just like, nah. And then you were talking about going to sleep. Apparently, when I got into the house, I went into my brother's room, not my own room, and I ended up kind of getting sick on my brother's bed. And my brother's a neat freak. He was not going to sleep in that room. So yeah, she's telling me all of this, and I'm asking, where was my crush? That was my concern at that point. Where was my crush in all of this? And she was like, he was actually concerned. He was very concerned about That accent switch made me laugh too. But he was very concerned because he was like, "Oh, what happened? Is she fine?" And I was like, "Oh, that's my boo. He's not my boo anymore." But like, hey, if he listens to this, he's just going to know. I think he will. Anyway, this is not what that's about. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, we go through the day. My mom is giving me attitude. Now, those that know me and those who don't now know anyway, or are about to know, that me and my mom are pretty close. So having my mom not talk to me is a disaster. So she's not talking to me. She's, is it just me who's experienced this? But like when an African mom is mad at you, they don't talk to you. They give you the ultimate silent treatment. Ain't no silent treatment like the silent treatment you get from an angry African woman. No, she was giving it to me. And my eyes are big. My mom's eyes are bigger. And she was giving me them eyes. And, eyes of that magnitude. Don't give nice eyes. When that happens, my girl, my guy, it was lit. So it was not lit. I was so upset. I had to wash all the blankets that I messed up. I did that laundry and I was hanging because like whiskey, that's how much I'd drunk first of all. And whiskey also just has those effects on me, especially neat. And I knew it. And I was mixing alcohol because a friend of mine brought gin as well, so we were doing gin and whiskey. Your girl was being foolish, but it was my birthday though. It was my birthday though, so I had to be lit, you know what I mean? Or at least that's what I thought. Very wrong, but like, yeah, my mom wouldn't talk to me. That lit uncle of mine came to do a bit of damage control. He spoke to my mom, spoke to me individually, and then my mom started talking to me after that. And then I tried to apologize. Mom, I'm sorry. And she said, sorry for what? Sorry for what? I really humbled myself. And I was like, no, Mom, I'm really sorry. I was like, sorry for embarrassing you. I don't even remember what happened. But from what I hear, it wasn't good. And apparently my mom tried to hit the drunk out of me. I don't know. African moms try to hit everything out of you. But like, that's not how it works, boo. Not when someone's that drunk, because I don't remember it. I do not remember it. And her sisters ended up telling her, they that have experience, they ended up telling her that no, she won't remember all that you're doing. I said, Mom, I don't remember anything. She said, you don't remember anything? I said, I don't remember anything. And I don't know why that triggered her more. I guess from a mom's perspective, she was thinking, if you were to like do this, like away from home, you could get abused and not know that you've just been abused. Do you know what I mean? So she got into that and, she's doing the most, but I guess she was entitled to, right? And then my father, remember daddy's girl, daddy's princess. Daddy didn't talk to princess for 3 days, baby. Jonna was in the stomach of a fish for 3 days. My daddy didn't talk to me for 3 days. 3 whole days I was in the stomach of a fish because my daddy won't talk to me. My mother is mad at me. My brother doesn't know how to defend me. And wow, it was not good. On the third day, there was a family meeting. So yeah, I'm one of those kids who's had family meetings for them plenty. So you're if you're religiously following the Elbows podcast, we're going to talk about these family meetings. Anyway, so this family meeting, my dad sits me down and he's like, okay, tell me, baby, what happened? And he called me his daughter. Oh my gosh, just hearing you say Mwanangu. Mwanangu means my child in Shona. And that just, hey, my guards went down. I was not defensive. I told the truth. Yeah, I drank more than I should have. I'm sorry for embarrassing you. My dad was like, what happened? And, he was talking to me. I've never, experienced a family meeting with so much love. I think, wow, my dad really spoke to me with a lot of concern. He was genuinely concerned. He was like, I heard you were vomiting. What if you died? And I was like, no, I wasn't going to die, but like, okay. But he was genuinely concerned, you know. He's like, my daughter. He kept calling me his daughter. Manangu. You know, all of that. And so it got me very emotional because I was just expecting for him to shout at me and then beat me up, and then we cool, and I was going back to school that weekend anyway, so I wouldn't have to like stomach all these vibes in the house anyway for much longer. So, but he spoke to me with so much love. And one thing that he said that moved me so much, to this day I live by that. He said to me, my daughter, I forgive you because I know that that's not the daughter I raised. But I don't know if you can ever forgive yourself for what you did. Because there's some people who are only ever going to know you for that person. And they'll never get to know the real you. Ooh, ha! Niagara Falls, Victoria Falls. I started crying, my guy. Zambezi, cry me a river. That's what I did. I started crying. I was so emotional because like, those words were powerful. They hit me hard. He said, I forgive you because I know you and I raised you, and that's not who I raised. But will you forgive yourself? You need to forgive yourself. He kept pressing. He's like, don't worry about us. We forgive you. We know you. But you need to work on yourself, baby. When you go back to school, work on yourself. Hi, guys. I was like on a no alcohol tip for a while. I said, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. And to this day, it's been a whole like year. I know, a full year, and like almost 2 years actually since then. But I do not want to see that Johnny Walker Game of Thrones blue and white bottle. For a while, blue and white were not my favorite colors. They trigger me. Like, no, we're going back there, you know. But yeah, that's what was happening, right? And guys, I can't even tell you. Like, for a while, I could not even stand the smell of whiskey. Like, because we're not about to go through an episode of that again. And that's where my boosted word of the week is coming from. My ooh, wow. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us, right? He is faithful and just to forgive us. This is coming from 1 John chapter 1, verse 9. God will forgive you the same way my dad did. No matter what it is that you've done. It doesn't have to be an alcohol story. It doesn't have to be whatever nasty thing that you think, oh no, this is nasty. Now this is nasty. Because that was nasty for me, boo. Like, who knocks out at a party where their dad has said all these great things about them? Like, my dad was gloating about the fact that I'm a med student and, you know, all of these things. The daughter. And then I went and I pulled that stunt. The guilt, the shame, the everything that I felt, you know. This is the same way we feel when we sin, when we do things that are wrong, when we mess up. You feel guilty, you feel ashamed, you feel embarrassed because God's out there saying the best about you. I mean, we spoke about this last week. God says that he's built you fearfully and wonderfully. He says you're a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, that he says all these awesome things about you, and you still go and you mess up. He even tells you before you sin that I'm going to forgive you, that I'm faithful and just to forgive you. And I have already forgiven you because he already sent Jesus, and Jesus already died on that cross, and he already rose from the dead. So he's already forgiven you, right? And you still go mess up and you feel that. And sometimes we feel silence, or we think that we're hearing nothing from God in those 3 days. The same way I didn't hear from my father for 3 days. And my world was crashing. Imagine, my world was not doing the most because I'm a daddy's girl, and we are all daddy's girls and boys because we are all children of God. And sometimes we feel that way. Oh, I feel that for somebody. Sometimes we feel that way to say, like, how on this planet is God going to, like, get me out of this one? But let me tell you something. God is waiting for you to tell you that I've forgiven you, my child. You don't need to work on yourself. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that we need to work in order to experience God's grace. We need absolutely nothing. I did nothing in those 3 days except do exactly what I was supposed to do in the house. I didn't do anything, basically. And my dad still came through and was like, no, my baby, I forgive you. That's the same way God comes through for you. And he's ready to forgive you. You just need to set yourself straight, boo. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling. That doesn't mean you don't experience God's grace. I repeat, you do experience God's grace every day. You're alive to hear this podcast. I just went to pastor somebody on you, but I feel it so strongly in my spirit even now, like in my gut, that someone out there feels like they've messed up and feels like nobody is there for them and feels like, oh my goodness, I've just done this big thing. Remember, I'm not just talking about alcohol. This is my story. Whatever it is you've done, God is waiting for their family meeting. That family meeting is that point where you go and you confess your sins. And we've just read in 1 John chapter 1, verse 9, that he says, if you confess your sins, I'm faithful and just to forgive you. He's waiting to forgive you. Right? So there's nothing that you can ever do. There's no amount of guilt and shame that is too big for God. So I hope you've been boosted. And that's our ooh wow of this week. 1 John chapter 1 verse 9. That's our ooh wow. Because it's late. But yeah, I was so nervous to tell the story. And this episode is a bit longer than the usual 20-something minutes. But I think that it was totally worth it. So yeah, I will catch you guys next week. I'm like in my feels. I'm in my feels, y'all. Because like, Jesus really can't forgive you. But hey, I done already told you that. Right? So yeah, I will catch you guys next week. Please remember to like, to comment, to subscribe if you're on YouTube, to favorite if you're on Anchor. If you're not on Anchor, go on Anchor and favorite. Like, if you're not on YouTube, go to YouTube. Yeah, if you're not on YouTube, go to YouTube and press that subscribe button. What are you doing with your life? I forgive you. Anyway, don't forget to do all those fantastic things for me because it helps me. It helps other people get boosted, when you boost the content and you repost. And guys, I like stories, so feel free to come and DM me your stories. I will reply. They that have texted me can testify that I will respond to you. But hey, may God bless you. May God increase you. And bye.